Hi, Matthias here from PineGrow. I recently got a question about the last part of our CSS Grid tutorial, where we use CSS grid lines to kind of position a background image. Let me show you. So here it is. So we are using here it is. So we are using grid lines, so like named grid lines, to position the background, like the poster image, underneath the content. And finally, there is a difference with how like the older version of PineGrow, where this course was recorded, works, or how it displays the grid, and the newer versions. So what we have here, and now I'm using the old version of PineGrow. So, and it uses like the Chromium browser from a few years ago. So the situation we have here is following. So on the top we just have a row with fixed size, and then we have auto that should accommodate whatever we put here. Like if we have multiple lines of headings, then this row should stretch accordingly. And then we have a small like spacer row, and then the content. And the poster image takes up this place. And if we select the image here and inspect is CSS code, we notice that we simply say like the width it's 100%, the height should use all the available space, and then object fit cover, so the image keeps its proportions. And okay, let's take a look here. This is the older version of Chromium, of Chrome browser. And then this is a newer one, and here we can notice a difference with how the image is displayed. And what happened is there must have been a change in browsers in the way how they calculate automatic heights in such situations. So the situation is a bit kind of tricky, ambiguous, because here we say, let me open the grid. So here we say, okay, this should be auto-sized. So normally, the size of whatever content is in the header will decide the size of this row. But here, in addition to the header, we also have the image in this area. And the image is not sized explicitly. We simply say the image height should be 100%, so it should take up all available space. And it appears that the older browsers, they kind of ignored this part, and they calculated the height of the row based only on the content of the header. So if there's one row of text, then that's how big the row will be. If there would be two lines of the heading, then the row would stretch. And as a result, this poster nicely kind of filled the area without influencing the height of all this, like the header and the top. So it kind of worked nicely as a background. But now, I guess the browsers got smarter, and what happens is they are taking the image into account when calculating the height. So the logic now seems to be, okay, so the header, we have one line of text, but we also have the image here, and the image is part of this row. It takes up the place in this row, and then they calculate the height of the image. They take the natural height of the image displayed at the width of 100%, and then they deduct like the fixed rows, and then what is left, let's say 200, 300 pixels, is used here to calculate the automatic height of the row. And as a result, this approach doesn't work anymore, because now the image size is influencing the whole header, and it becomes too big. That's not what we want to do. So then what can we do to have the effect that we desire, so that the poster image is just acts as a background for our header without influencing the size of the header? So let's switch to the new Pinegrow. So one way would be to use CSS background image on that element, but in cases where the image is part of the content of the page, we don't really want to do that. So the only way I can think of now, and please, if you know any better way, just let me know, but what we can do is create a wrapper element. So, and it can be a figure, for example, so that it's connected with semantically with the image, and then we put the image as its child element, and of course we also have to take care of the styling. So now the image is selected. We don't want to give any grid area information. And here we have the poster. So what we will do is, let's set the position to absolute. And then we have width is 100%, height is 100%. We don't really need this too. We do need object fit, and this we can remove. So okay, so absolute is here. Let's add it to the poster rule. And then we also have to style the parent, the figure element. So first of all, we will position it relative, so that the image child that uses absolute will be correctly displayed in relation to this element. And then we also have to give it the position in the grid. The easiest is we just say this is poster. And it appears that figure has some margins, like default margins that we don't want, so we just reset them. Here 0 on all sides, and also we need to set the -1 as z index so that it goes below the other content. So now we have the same result as before, but this time we had to, because of the changes of how CSS Grid is calculating its heights, and I guess the same is true for width, we had to add a wrapper element that is positioned in the grid with the lines. So poster, 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 poster with named grid lines. and then we move the image into this figure element, and we positioned it absolutely. So position is absolute, and the width is 100 and height is 100. So that means that the size of the image will take up the all available space of its parent element, and then we use object fit to make sure that the image keeps its proportions. So without it, it gets squished or stretched. So we need the object fit, and that's the same as before. We needed it there also. So okay, it's interesting to notice how the CSS Grid is in a way in development. So the way how it works, the way how things are calculated, it's changing, it's evolving. So we also have to evolve our approaches when we notice that things changed. So for this particular case, that's one way to do it. And if you know any better way, please let me know. Okay, have fun and see you next time. Bye bye.